Hey everyone, my name is Augie Schmidt and I'm a top producing commercial real estate advisor here in Central Florida. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you how I turned one referral into 4 deals and more than $250,000 in gross commissions. Alright, so in this video, there's going to be a very heavy emphasis on the importance of referrals. But not only getting referrals, but taking those opportunities and making the absolute most out of them. I could have just done the one referral and closed the deal and been fine, that's great. However, turning it into 4 deals and more than $250,000 in gross commissions is abnormal for most. So I want to tell you how I did it, and hopefully you can apply it in your business and get similar results. So one day I was sitting in my office and there was an advisor across the hall that focuses on land transactions. While I sell industrial buildings and lease them, and that's what I am best known for. So this advisor from across the hall had a client that had a vacant industrial property, so he came to me and said, Augie, can you help him out to lease his vacant industrial property? I said, let me go check it out. Absolutely, I would love to help him. So I went and toured the facility. It was a great facility. He recently renovated it. Even though it was built in the 70s, it was recently renovated, new office space. It was a great looking facility. I'll actually pull that up on my map here. So here is the property, and it is a 17,000 square foot industrial building. There's actually a couple different buildings to it, but it was great because it provided a different variety of loadings for the asset. So there was dock high loading, there was ground level loading, like this building right here was solely ground level. So I toured it, we put a value on it. We said, hey, we think it can lease for this, and we went out to go ahead and market it to a tenant. So this building here once was vacant when we took it on, but as you can see from the sign, we got a lease signed with Sunnyland Corporation, who is a big national corporation. So this was a great deal for the landlord, for the tenant, but the tenant was in a smaller facility, which created our next opportunity. So as I mentioned, this building was about 17,000 square feet, but they had a 12,000 square foot building down the road, and we asked them, hey, what is the plan with that building? And they said, well, why don't you help us put a value on it, and then let's see if you can take it to market. So we got the address to that building, and then we went ahead and toured the asset. So as I'll fly on my map here, it's only right down the street, probably about 5 minutes down the road on Referral Highway over in Winter Haven. So, and forgive me for all these other yellow lines, those are the other deals that we're going to talk about very soon. So this was the asset that they were moving from and expanding out of. So this was 12,000 square feet, and they said, hey, we've grown, we've expanded, we need new space. So they signed a lease with us, and then they said, hey, this is the other building that we are moving out of, and we are going to want to sell or lease. So they ended up wanting to sell the building, and it needed some improvements, and there was just normal wear and tear on it from all the years that they've used it. However, it was a 12,000 square foot freestanding industrial building. It was a very, very sought after asset type in our market, so we were able to list it and then sell it pretty quickly. But real estate 101, so one of the first things that I did is when I listed this building, we put our marketing materials together, and then I started to walk down the street to see if neighbors were interested in the property and what was going on with their building and their business. So I went ahead and took that brochure, printed out a bunch of them, and walked down the street, and then simply just started knocking on doors. So the first stop here was Window World, and talked to the receptionist. She was great. So got their contact and stayed in touch, but it just wasn't a fit at the time. So I kept it moving, and we moved down here to Polk Mechanical. And this was a 14,000 square foot industrial building, and there was actually a for sale sign out there previously. It was from a residential broker, and it looked to be old. So I walked in, I said, hey, this is great. What is going on? So somebody had the listing and they did not perform. It was a residential broker trying to sell a commercial asset. Oftentimes it ends up that way a lot. So they asked us to put a value on the property and see what we thought and what we could do with it. So we gave them our valuation, conducted the analysis, and we told them what we thought it was worth, and they ghosted us. So after that, and that happens a lot of times, if you've been doing proposals and putting together brokers' price opinions, or some call them BOVs, brokers' opinion of value. Once you put those together, you do a good bit of work putting that together and telling the property owner what the property is worth, what you think, how you're going to market it, and what you think for timing for a sale. And we went through all that work and did that, but like I said, got ghosted shortly after. So they had it in their hands. We went and presented it. it, and they said we'll think about it, but like I said, just didn't hear back. So we kept it moving. And as I continued to walk down the street, there was this property that was obviously vacant, and you can see here from the street view, this was back in 2019, but there was a sign out here that was for lease by owner. And so this property was very interesting because it was more than 60,000 square feet, so it was bigger than all of the properties put together that I've toured and listed and was marketing for sale already. But what was most interesting about it, and I'll pull it up from my aerial here, is all of these parcels right here were included. So this building sat on more than 10 acres. And being in Central Florida, land is pretty tight. As you can see, there's warehouses everywhere. So a warehouse on this much land was extremely rare. So this is actually a cutout. I have this marked because that's the 14,000 square foot, the facility that ghosted us, but it's just contiguous. So that's why that one's included there. But yeah, this is more than 60,000 square feet on 10 acres. And what happened with this property was we talked to the property owner and we said, hey, we can help you lease your property. They were trying to do it by themselves for years. So we put together an analysis form and really just went back and forth for some time. So there was no real action or real motivation for the property. I believe it was paid off, so they were just paying taxes and insurance, and it was a wealthier family, so they said, hey, they weren't extremely motivated to make something happen and did not really want to sign a listing agreement right away. So this went on for probably 4 to 6 weeks or so, and like I mentioned, they were really just hesitant to sign a listing agreement, which was okay, but they said we would do something with the property if an opportunity came about, and we would also pay you. So I took that and ran with it. So I started talking to my broker friends and buddies and other contacts in the industry, and something hit. So for this property, it ended up being an incredible deal. Honestly, one of the best deals I've ever done, not really from a commission standpoint, just from an impact standpoint. But we got a national company, a lumber company, to sign up here, and they were going to be bringing more than 100 jobs to the area with a median salary for somewhere around $70,000, which for this area, West Winter Haven, I believe the median household income was like 38 or 40,000. So to bring an operation to this city that produced more than 100 jobs, like 130, 150, with a median pay of $70,000 was a huge deal and was something we were really proud of. So they did a long-term deal, and because of this was, like I said, not only a great deal for us from a commission and a broker standpoint, but the landlords were extremely happy. They planned on keeping the asset long-term anyway. This lumber company got to move into the market or expand in the market, so they can now expand their operation here in Central Florida that is booming. So everybody was happy about the deal. It worked out incredibly, and we got paid very well. This all came from that one referral. But it is not over yet. Casper, the friendly ghost, had come back to us. So after this deal was done, we went back to this owner down the street and mentioned the good news of what was happening in their neighborhood. So after that conversation came about 2 or 3 weeks later, they said, okay, it's time for us. We would like to sell. So we listed it. I believe it was just over $1 million, and we listed their property, and we closed 60 to 75 days later. So that is deal number 4 for this string of transactions, and that just shows you what can be made done with one referral. So this was one opportunity, and if you are in commercial real estate, just know that whenever you get a listing, these are all things that we should be doing. And most of you know that, but talking to the neighbors, calling around, if somebody is, coming into your building, say, hey, where are you coming from? Is there opportunity there? So opportunity is everywhere we look, but we just need to go look for it and put our boots on the ground, go knock on the doors, and move and shake and see who we can help grow, expand, lease, and sell. So I would highly encourage you, even on a smaller leasing assignment or sale assignment, you can turn that into much more business. If you are doing the things that you are supposed to be doing as a commercial real estate broker, talking on the phone to clients, next to the property, knocking on their door, seeing who is growing, who's expanding, who is shrinking. If you are doing the right things, walking down the street and seeing who's in that market, who's on the street, and what their story is, if they're interested in your listing, or you can help them. Like I said, this turned into 4 deals and more than $250,000 in gross commission, and I was very grateful for it, and I know all of the people that we helped along the way were as well. So hopefully you got value from this video. If you liked it, please click the like and the subscribe button. If you didn't, then don't. Either way, drop a a comment and tell us what you want to hear next time.